Hello, friends. It's nice to see you today. I'm Mrs. Urbach, and this is Charlie, and I'm so glad you could join me today. I've got a special letter of the day for you today, and a wonderful story I think you'll really like, as well as a song to go with the story. So let's get started. Well, before we get to our letter of the day, take a look at this quilt behind me. That quilt is called Until We Meet Again, and it's a very unique design. Unique means that it's special. There's nothing else like it. Kind of like you. The lady who made that quilt has a lot of quilting friends, and she doesn't often get to see them, especially lately. So she asked them all to send her any extra leftover blocks they had, no matter the color or the type of pattern of the quilt. A quilting block looks different depending on the pattern of the quilt. So for example, in this quilt, this square could be considered a block, and this square in the same quilt, but a different pattern would be a block. Here's another quilt with different kinds of blocks. A block in this quilt might look like that. And a block in this quilt looks like that. So, do you see all the different types of blocks in that quilt behind me? So everybody, no matter what kind of quilt they were working on, sent in one of their blocks. And then she found a way to put them all together, and it came out with that unique quilt. And it was a way for all the friends to be together, even though they couldn't see each other in person. Isn't that fun? The first word in that quilt's name is until. And that letter at the beginning of that word is our letter of the day. Do you know what letter makes the sound If so, tell me right now while I get the paper to write it. Here we go. Let's see if you guessed correctly. Did you guess the letter U? If you guessed the letter U, you are correct. This is a big U. Let's draw a little U. And U makes the sound like in the word until. U is a fun letter to make with your body. You could just use your arms, or you could use your whole body. Go ahead and try that right now. Good. And can you say the sound U makes while you make the letter with your body? Well done. Let's put our U on the quilt behind me. It's time to play I Spy. Let's see if the I Spy quilt has some things that begin with the letter U. It does. I spy with my little eye something that begins with the letter U that you would use outside when it rains. Did you spot the umbrella? Umbrella begins with U. It's harder to find words that begin with U. Here's a silly one. I spy with my little eye something on a cow that begins with the letter U. So first find the cow, right there. And the part of the cow that we milk is called an udder. Udder begins with U. I think that's it for U words on the I Spy quilt. So let's sing our ABCs. What do you want to do when you get to the letter U to show that you know we're there? Okay, I'll look for that when we get to the letter U. Let's sing together. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Good job. I'm excited to share this next story with you because it's one of my favorites. And it has a U in the title. This story is The Ugly Duckling. Do you see the U on the word ugly? The original story was written by Hans Christian Andersen. And this version was adapted by Bernadette Watts, who also did all the illustrations. And it was published by North South Books. It was a beautiful summer day. The sun was shining down on an old house surrounded by a moat. Do you know what a moat is? A moat is usually found around a castle, and it's like a river of water surrounding the house. And in the old days, they would do that to keep it safe, and they'd have to lower the drawbridge in order to leave the house and get over the moat. But this moat had some ducks living in it. Isn't that fun? Bushes, reeds, and flowers grew by the water's edge. In the shade of some big leaves, a duck was sitting on her nest, waiting for her eggs to hatch. It was taking a very long time, but finally, one after the other, the eggs cracked and out came the ducklings. Only the biggest egg still lay there. The mother duck settled down again and waited for it to hatch. At last, the big egg cracked open. The mother duck looked at the new duckling and thought, "How big and ugly he is. He doesn't look like any of the others. Perhaps he is a turkey chick and is afraid of water. I'll take him to the moat to see if he can swim." Look at him. He is big compared to his brothers and sisters, isn't he? The mother duck and her ducklings jumped right into the water. One duckling after another followed her. Even the ugly duckling jumped in eagerly. "So he isn't a turkey chick after all," said the mother duck, relieved. "It is my own child. Actually, now that I look at him again, he isn't ugly at all." Feeling contented, she led her ducklings to a farm nearby. Do you agree with the mama? He's not ugly. I agree with the mama. He's just different from the others, but that doesn't make him ugly. But when they reached the farmyard, the other birds began to ridicule the ugly duckling. They pushed him, pecked him, and chased him around the farmyard. Even the duckling's brothers and sisters were unkind to him. Finally, the mother duck cried, "Oh, if only you were far away from here!" Oh. Sometimes we say things without thinking, don't we? So, the ugly duckling ran away. He flapped over the fence, startling all the birds in the bushes, who then flew off. "That is because I am so ugly," thought the duckling. He ran on until he reached the wide marsh where the wild ducks lived. There he lay, trembling the whole night long. At sunrise, the wild ducks found him. "How ugly you are," they quacked. "But we don't care, as long as you stay out of our way." Uh-oh, this doesn't look good. The duckling was lonely and frightened in the marsh. After a few days, a fearsome dog appeared and bounded up to the duckling. The duckling was terrified. But the dog turned around and ran off without harming him. "How lucky," thought the duckling. "I look so ugly that even a dog doesn't want to eat me." The duckling rushed away across the marsh as fast as he could. At the edge of the marsh, he came to a tumble-down cottage. The duckling slipped through a crack in the door. There he saw an old woman sitting by the fire with her cat and her hen. They allowed the duckling to stay for a while, but only at the back of the room. "Now I will get some duck eggs," said the old woman. But the duckling didn't lay any eggs. He sat sadly in the corner and dreamed of warm sunshine and swimming. Shunned by the cat and the hen, he went out into the world once more. That word shunned means that they completely ignored him and pretended he wasn't there. So how do you think that made him feel? Yeah, not very good. No wonder he left. Eventually, he came to a lake where he could swim and dive. One autumn evening, just as the sun was setting, a beautiful group of birds flew by. They were dazzling white with long necks. They were swans, although the duckling didn't know that, and they thrilled him. He had never seen such beautiful birds. Have you seen a swan before in real life? They're very elegant. Winter came and it was bitterly cold. It would be very sad to describe all the misery the duckling suffered that long, harsh winter. He's growing though, isn't he? Then, One day the warm sun shone again. It was spring. The duckling spread his wings and flew away from the dikes and the marshes and came to a lake. There he saw 3 swans gliding majestically over the water. "I will fly to those beautiful birds," he said. "They may peck me to death because I'm so ugly, but it doesn't matter." So the duckling glided down onto the water and swam toward the swans. The duckling bowed his head over the water, expecting to be killed. But what did he see in the water? He saw his own reflection, no longer an ugly duckling, but a beautiful swan. The other swans swam round him and stroked him lovingly with their beaks. What does it matter where one is born if one has been hatched from a swan's egg? He remembered all the pain and misery he had suffered, but now everything had changed. He raised his long, slender neck and trumpeted. "I never dreamed of so much happiness when I was a wretched, ugly duckling." But he was never an ugly duckling, was he? He was always a swan, even when he was a baby. The other birds just didn't know what he was. They should have still been kind to him, even though he was different, don't you think? How do you think they would feel now if he went back and they saw that he'd grown into this lovely swan? Do you think they would feel bad that they were so mean to him? Probably. You know how I like to sing, so I'd like to tell the story of the ugly duckling in song form. There once was an ugly duckling with feathers all stubby and brown, and the other birds in so many words said, "Quack, get out of town. Quack, get out, quack, quack, get out, quack, quack, get out of town." And he went with a quack and a waddle and a quack and a very unhappy frown. That poor little ugly duckling went wandering far and near, but at every place they said to his face, "Now, quack, get out of here. Quack, get out, quack, quack, get out, quack, quack, get out of here." And he went with a quack and a waddle and a quack and a very unhappy tear. All through the winter time he hid himself away, ashamed to show his face, afraid of what others might say. All through the winter in his lonely clump of weed, till a flock of swans saw him there and very soon agreed, "You're a very fine swan indeed." What? A swan? Ah, go on. No, it's true. Take a look at yourself in the lake and you'll see. And he looked, and he saw, and he said, "Why, it's me! I am a swan! Whee! I'm not such an ugly duckling, no feathers all stubby and brown, for in fact these birds in so many words said, 'The best in town, the best, the best, the best in town.' Not a quack, not a quack, not a waddle or a quack, but a glide and a whistle and a snowy white back and a head so noble and high. Say, who's an ugly duckling? Not I." Isn't that a good song? I think that's a fun way to tell the story. Sometimes we can relate to the ugly duckling, can't we? It may feel like we just don't fit in, or everybody else is special and we're not. We all feel that way sometimes. But I want to remind you, you are special. You were made specially. There's nobody else like you, and that is unique and precious. even on days you don't feel it. It's important that you know deep down inside how special and beautiful you are. That makes me think of another song I'd like to sing for you. This is a song I learned when I was about your age, and it always made me feel happy, so I'd like to share it with you. You are my friend, you are special. You are my friend, you're special to me. There isn't anyone like you, my friend. I like you in the daytime, in the nighttime, any time that you feel's the right time for a friendship with me, you see. Friend, special. You are my friend, you're special to me. There's only one in this wonderful world. You are special. I hope you always remember how special you are. I had fun with you today. Remember as you go about your day to listen for those words that begin with the sound Perhaps your room is upstairs, or you will climb under your bed to look for your underwear. So, until next time, hold out your arm and wrap it around your body, and hold out this arm and wrap it around the other way, and give yourself a great big hug, because you are special and you are loved. Bye-bye.